Hi guys, it's Mike on Mike. Today, I wanted to look into my last little foray into deceptive measures. And today, we're covering the levy. Now, I was listening to KJO the other day, as I often do. I listen to Rush Limbaugh in the afternoon sometimes. And hearing a lot of pro and con levy ads, but one that really made me sit up and take notice is this one for the levy. Okay, here's just part of it, and then I'll comment.
People have given up on reporting many crimes because the sheriff's office is so understaffed. Then there are boxes of old crime reports that have never been filed. Without written reports, nobody really knows how much crime has actually increased.
Okay. All right. So apparently, somewhere at the sheriff's department, there are boxes and boxes of unfinished crime reports laying around. I have a hard time believing this because last year, 2015 numbers that we have, the sheriff's department turned in 788 crimes. That's about 2 a day. Okay, so if you can't fill out 2 crime reports in one day, there's a serious problem going on. And also, there's a question as to whether or not they can even legally postpone filling out of crime reports and reporting the crime. So here's Bill Hunker on that.
When we talk about things being turned in, this is the actual requirement, 1.1, reporting requirements established. And it says any law enforcement agency discovering, receiving a report, or investigating any offense occurring in a jurisdiction that would constitute a crime shall report these facts to the Oregon Uniform Crime Reporting Agency monthly. Any law enforcement agency arresting, citing, or issuing a summons to any person, including the handling of juveniles, for any crime which occurred in the jurisdiction shall report these facts to OUCR monthly. So I can't tell you where it's breaking down, but I can tell you what the law is to them is to do that. Now, it would bother me enormously if somebody were to say to me, well, we actually could do it, but we need one more person. I'm sure that's not a sheriff's deputy that does it. They have to have training, I understand that. But if you're telling me that all this furor that we're having is over the fact that somebody isn't doing good secretarial work, I've got a problem with why they're not into the county commissioner saying, I need a body because we're behind in our paperwork. So if it's not being turned in, it is by law to be turned in. That's what they are told in their handbook. That's not my issue. And when I can see that there's officers on the road at 56 people, reallocate them. Go back to somebody old who turned in 30 through 200 crimes in a year and say, what did you do with your 56 people? Do the same thing. I'm just here to say there's a discrepancy, folks, and it's not the public's fault. The numbers are there, and they've been there every year. And when you tell me that Bill Landis, who is fully staffed, is using that same excuse that Daniel has a possibility of using, I've got a problem with that. Because that 80-20 split is still there. So somebody is not telling it like it is. And that's all I'm about here, is that we're not being fed the full truth.
Okay, so I concur. Something is amiss in this little story here, because I'm guessing that they can fill out more than 2 crime reports in a day. Okay, so here's the second half of that ad on KJO.
That's right. Stolen cars, road accidents, break-ins to homes and apartments rarely get reported. Behind closed doors, child or spouse abuse is largely never reported. Who knows how many criminals are getting away with crimes? Enough is enough. Fill in the circle next to yes on 1774.
Wow. Wild speculation as to what is and what is not being reported. And I feel like these people think that they have license to just say whatever they want to get this levy passed. Stolen cars not being reported. Let's see how well that works with your insurance company when you try and turn in a report of your car being stolen. They say, well, is there a police report that's tied to that? No. Oh, well, you better go get one of those first. Accidents. Accidents on the freeways, 199 or something. I'm assuming that OSP is going to show up for that. Then home invasions, or did he say burglary, things of this nature, spousal abuse and child abuse not being reported. I think those are highly underreported to begin with. But let's understand that they're lumping all of this as though we're talking about all of the crime in the county. And it doesn't work that way. 80% of the crime in the county takes place in the city. So that's all taken care of. That stuff's not reported. Okay. Or is it, it's being reported essentially. This is, it's fear mongering. This is fear mongering is what's going on. So anyway, then also the other day I'm watching KOBI, Channel 5, and they are running this piece on the levee, as they often do. In years past, we've all seen the little puff pieces that they do on the levee. Here's the one that KOBI did.
Welcome back, and thanks for watching NBC 5 News at 6. I'm Kristen Hosfeld.
And I'm Craig Small. And among the measures Josephine County voters will weigh in on November 8th is a 4-year levy aimed at generating funding for public safety. It's the 5th tax levy proposal since 2012. The last 4 were all rejected. And while opponents of the measure are hoping for a 5th and final failure, those in favor feel the community is fed up enough with crime to push it through.
There's no doubt in my mind that we have a crime issue and a public safety issue.
The Josephine County Sheriff's Office is not taking a position on County Measure 1774. But Sheriff Dave Daniels says it's no secret the county is lacking in public safety resources.
We don't have deputies out there 24 hours a day protecting the community. That's ridiculous.
A ballot measure in the hands of Josephine County voters looks to change that. Measure 1774 is a 4-year property tax levy aimed at generating approximately $10 million a year for law enforcement. That means property owners would pay an additional $1.42 for every $1,000 of assessed property value, or about $24 more a month for a home valued at $200,000. A 5-person citizen oversight committee would ensure money is spent only on public safety, which would include things like increasing the number of patrol deputies, providing increased resources for prosecution, enhancing treatment programs, and adding more jail beds.
None of those funds can be used for any other purposes.
Those in favor of the levy say people are fed up.
Not having law enforcement does make this a desirable place to live for criminals. That's the problem.
It is becoming more rampant. We're seeing more crimes happening. We're seeing more people moving into the community, knowing that we can't do anything about this situation.
Whoa. I'm just going to pause for a second. Wild speculation on her part and on Josh's part there, that somehow they can't quantify any of this stuff. They don't have numbers on any of this stuff. To say as though it were fact that we know that people are coming into this community with the knowledge in their mind that we are now more susceptible to crime because we don't fund our law enforcement adequately, as they would say. That's just wildly speculative. Here's the rest of it.
Say it's imperative that public safety be well funded so that the community is a desirable place for current and future residents to live, work, and play.
My biggest desire is for us to get jobs in this community, for us to move this county forward.
If we don't have a jail, if we don't have deputies there to enforce the law, how can we ever help those vulnerable people and make sure that we have a safe community to live in?
We're not going to get our normal federal welfare anymore.
Those against the levy say the county should have seen this funding issue coming.
The county has known for 25 years that the day was coming we would lose our funding.
And say the citizens of the county have said time and time again they don't want to pay.
They've just tried to do a levy, tried to do a levy.
That's a fallacy that there isn't funding. There's funding. The road department has plenty of money.
We do need the money, and we can find money. Whether we can find an adequate amount of money, we'll never go back to where we were, because that was free money from the government. And they're not doing that anymore.
Hunker says they have to look at the funding they already have and see what, if anything, can be allocated to public safety. The folks in favor of Measure 1774 say it's no different than all other goods and services that have gone up in price over the years. And so public safety expenses have become more expensive, too.
Okay, so then I was watching Channel 12, and it's right about the same day, I believe. And they put up, they did a similar puff piece, and they put up a poll from Facebook that they say proves that things have changed. The tide in the community has changed, and it showed something like a 70-30 split in favor of the levy. And here is what it looked like yesterday. This couple of days afterwards, it shows 65-27. But notice there's 94 total votes there. Now, when I saw the piece originally and went to the Facebook page to look at it, it had like 50 votes. So 50 votes in a Facebook poll is indicative of a sea change in the community. Yeah, slightly deceptive. Now, you say, okay, listen, they do these puff pieces every single year. We've come to expect them from these TV stations. But here's something coincidental. This is the cash expenditures for the levy committee. There's a $5,000 cash expenditure to both KDRV and KOBI. Now, I'm assuming that in addition to television commercials that they were running for the levy committee, they also said, hey, listen, we'll throw in a little puff piece on the news for you as part of your buy. So, you know, there you have it, folks. This is what's going on. And Deceptive, you be the judge. I do not judge people who want to have the levy passed. I believe many of these people, their intentions are sincere. I just think that they're deceived if they think much is going to change. We had full funding back in 2004, 5, 6, and the situation was not too dissimilar out in the county. If you wanted to call a deputy, the chances are it was going to be a very long wait, or maybe you wouldn't get one at all. My neighbor had their house broken into, and they got a form in the mail to fill out. So I'm not sure what would be driving non-reporting of crime, getting a form in the mail to fill out for your last burglary, or the fact that we're not properly funded. So we're all going to find out here in a couple of days, which way the county goes on this. I will be reporting live on Facebook Live, the election results from the courthouse on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. I will post it in a number of the local Facebook pages. So join me then. See ya.